Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Christ and Curls. This one is a little off script. This one is a story, kind of, pretty much, of what I did this week, because it was life-changing. I had my life completely changed this past week, Monday through Friday. I'm filming this right now on the 21st of June. It's Sunday, I just got back from church. Back in May, I was asked to lead a small group of girls at our camp, at our summer camp for these kids. It's called Fuse, and it's our 6th through 12th grade service, and they have a 5-day camp every summer. Last year I saw it. They do a little video montage the Sunday after they get back, and last year it brought me to tears. My mom and I were absolutely shocked at the life change and how much these kids love Jesus. And this year I got the blessing to be a part of it. I'm kind of going to go through how everything went this past week. One of the worship leaders, she texted me, "Hey, we need some girls to lead a small group. Do you want to lead?" I was like, "Sure." But I got that text and honestly my heart sunk. Cuz I was like, not imposter syndrome, but I was thinking like, wait, they trust me enough to do this. They trust me enough to look after whatever grade girls are going to choose me to be with. So I was scared. I was more scared of the unknown, not because I wasn't cut out for it or I felt like I wasn't a good enough person. So my fingers moved a little faster than my brain, and I was immediately like, yes, absolutely, give me all the information. I'm happy to do this. I was very excited, but I didn't know what to expect. I was like, I'm going to be off my schedule. I'm going to be off my routine. Like, I'm not going to be able to go to the gym. I'm not going to be able to have, like, the food that I've been eating. So I packed so much food. Like, last week was the day before we were all leaving. That's when I found out I had a kitchen. So I was like, okay, I'm packing everything that I can reheat. So I brought steak, I brought potatoes, so much food. So Monday comes around, and I'm just sitting in the worship center waiting for the girls. I was helping check girls in and being like, okay, you're with me, I'm your leader, it's nice to meet you, I'm very excited for this week. I was so nervous. I only knew a few people going in, and the people that I knew weren't even like in my same group. So I was like, guys, what is this? I was scared. Monday comes around, it's a really fun night. I'm growing closer with these 3 little girls. They saw me before. Mila, Lena, and Sabrina, hi, I know y'all are watching this. But I found like a little safe space in those 3 girls. And I was like, okay, these girls are full of life, full of personality. They make me laugh. So the sermons that we did, it was the story of Lazarus and how Jesus raised him from the dead. How his sisters, Martha and Mary, would not roll a stone to let Jesus in. Lazarus's body smelled like death, and they didn't want Jesus to be let in. So basically the first night was, how long should you hold on to what God has already said to you? How long can you hold on to the promise that he already gave you? Where did you bury those secrets that you keep away from people, that you keep away from God, to be like, no, I'm perfect, I don't have anything to hide, I'm all good. But God is like, what about that little thing right there? What about that thing that you keep behind the stone that you won't roll away for me to save you and give life to it? So that was like the first night, and it completely moved me. The second night kind of was when the emotions started to kick in. Tuesday was believe bigger, how social media shaped the way we see the world. In John 5, there's this lame man that Jesus finds, and he asks the man, do you want to be healed? Because he's been lame and sitting in the same spot on the same mat for 38 years. And Jesus comes up to him. The man actually doesn't say yes or no. He tells him a story as to why he can't get up and why he can't get up off his mat. Jesus didn't ask that though. He asked him if he wanted to be saved. You keep sleeping with the people, hoping to fill that void. You keep drinking those drinks, the smoking, the vaping, in hopes that you feel whole, but it will never complete the picture. A note that I wrote down, it was never able to provide what it promised to you. Maybe the next time that I get to the pool, I will feel whole. Maybe I can go to the next place in the next 38 years, I find myself in a support group. If I go back this time, it will be different. But it's not. It's not a place. It's a person. The place being that you keep sleeping with this person, you keep going to that bar, you keep smoking, you keep vaping. It is not that place that is going to save you. It's that person who is trying to call out to you to roll a stone away and allow him in to raise you to life, and for you to get up off your mat after 38 years so you don't find yourself in a support group. So the mat can turn into a message, because it used to be this mat was keeping my knees soft and scratch free for 38 years, but now I can carry it standing on my 2 feet, and now it's a message showing what God has done for me. And that's exactly what we had the kids do that Tuesday night. We set out 585 mats for the kids, and we had them worship from their knees as they were paralyzed. We sung at the altar, and it was so emotional. And then all the kids picked up their mat and we worshiped some more. And it became a message of what God has done in their life. That was really moving. Then we rode some carnival rides, but some of the kids had cotton candy. Silent disco was so much fun. Wednesday rolls around and I'm getting so much closer with these girls. But this is the night that it really changed for me, because the whole theme of the week was, do you want a new story? Tonight was, do I care enough to carry? So this story was from Luke 5, where the 4 men took their paralyzed friend on a stretcher to go see Jesus and to be healed through Jesus. But when they got there, the crowd was so large, they had to go up to the roof, break down roof tiles to get to Jesus so that their friend could be healed. I hope you see where I'm going with this, because this had a profound impact on me this night. I tried to call my mom the next morning, but I couldn't even talk. I was crying. So the 4 men walked in expectation because they knew where the power was, and that is where the crowd was, where that house was, where Jesus was. They knew the power that Jesus held so that their friend could be saved from his paralysis. So your expectation changes your participation, because you can say, oh, I want to win state, but I don't want to practice. I do want to win state. I just don't feel like practicing. Don't expect yourself to win state if you're not going to practice. One point that I wrote down was, what happens when I get home, I start inviting people to church, live holy for Jesus, preach the word, but the second I hit an obstacle, I turn around. The second that somebody is like, is church really worth it to you? You really want to not hang out with us on Saturday because you have church in the morning on Sunday? You really don't want to? Church is that important to you? Really? You actually do want to go to church? And then you're rethinking the whole thing. And you're sat there, you're like, oh, I think it matters to me? And then you completely go back on your word after all that effort, and you just turn around. What would it mean if those 4 men that took their paralyzed friend to Jesus, they saw the crowd and they turned around? What was the point of getting them? They were like, oh, we have so much faith and we have so much motivation to go and to get our friend to Jesus, but oh, the crowd. Let's just turn back around. It's not worth it. Our paralyzed friend's not worth it. That's heartbreaking. That is so heartbreaking. But those men did not give up. They tore tiles off the roof of that house to get their friend to Jesus. Don't quit because of the crowd. Is it a faith issue, or is it I haven't invested enough in my faith? Those were another points that I got down. Be a Christian that cares too much. Be a Christian that cares too much about getting other people to Jesus beyond the judgment that you could face. Don't be a sidelined Christian now that you are saved. Be in the game and take people to God. This night was exceptionally vulnerable because after that sermon, we went out to this grass area and we had 50 military grade stretchers, and every group was there. Every group had their own stretcher. And it was just overlooking the lake. It was like during sundown. It was a beautiful moment. But every single one of us carried each other down and back in the grass, carrying the person that is being carried, who is paralyzed in their sins. So we carried it for them. We carried them to the feet of Jesus and back. There were kids that were carrying it empty, after they were all done, for the next generation, for the next group of kids that needed to be carried. There are kids that eventually carried our pastor. I didn't think that I was going to cry any more than I did, but after my girls were like, okay, Gab, now it's your turn. Get on. We're going to carry you. It was a little wobbly at first, but they carried me down and back, and I didn't expect to cry as much as I did, but I did. But really what moved me was I had some of my girls coming to me and sobbing into my shoulders, either just crying to me, just needed a hug, just needed a safe place, or I had 2 girls that I just held for a while because they came up to me, and one of the girls said, "I wish I had friends like that." And then a separate girl, she comes up to me crying, and she's like, she said, "I'm not okay." And I just held them. I held them for as long as they needed. I didn't let go until they let go. I was going to be there for as long as they needed. And I spoke into them, I poured into them, and I helped them through it. I gave them words of encouragement, and I was very grateful that God has allowed me to do that, because that changed their life, but it changed my life. I got to speak into these girls earlier during our small group time that we were having just like a small group discussion, and I was talking to them about how, like, just giving them older sister advice, kind of, and explaining how it costs nothing to be kind to another person. And I was just like kind of going off. I would not stop. But Wednesday night, when those girls were clinging to me because they were so broken, absolutely shattered me. What shattered me the most is these girls felt comfortable enough and trusted me enough to hold on to them and to speak into them and to pour myself into them and to pour my faith into these girls. Earlier in the day on Wednesday, 2 girls talked to me about getting baptized, and I got to fill out 2 forms for these girls that wanted to be baptized, and I was extremely grateful. I got to walk them through salvation. I got to walk them through the Roman road, and it was nothing short of a blessing to be able to do that. But I was nervous because I had never done it before, and it grew my faith, because seeing these girls so eager to learn more and to be baptized and then to learn about how to be better moved something in me. But Wednesday night, 2 more girls came up and talked to me about getting baptized. And these girls are like 13, 14 years old. I didn't know what to say. I just broke down in tears. And I just gave them a big hug, and I was like, I'm so grateful that you girls feel comfortable enough to talk to me about this, because I've never done this before. I have 4 girls now that have talked to me about being baptized. They chose me to guide them through salvation. I got to talk to those girls later that night. I got to pray over them, and I got to guide them through it, because the next night was baptism night, and it's safe to say that I cried the most tears on Thursday night. I remember there was this one girl who I could tell had a lot of stuff going on in her head. I personally heard something that I did not appreciate, and so I didn't want to be around her and say something wrong and call her out and make her feel embarrassed, because I was her leader. So I was just letting her be. So I'm just going to pray over you, and you come to me whenever you're ready. So Thursday night, we worshiped for so long. We did probably like 10 songs in worship, and I was sobbing my eyes out. My pastor was saying he barely even wants to preach. He just wants to worship, because tonight is baptism night, but he's going to preach a little bit. So it was a story of Mary pouring everything out to Jesus, pouring out her most expensive perfume. Judas was about to betray him. Mary took a pound of perfume and poured it onto Jesus' feet and all over him, because that is how much Jesus meant to her, because that perfume cost her everything. Judas, after that dinner that they had with Jesus, goes up and tells the Pharisees to sell Jesus for 30 pieces of silver, and he thought what Mary was doing was over the top. Judas had a cheap Jesus, but Mary's version of Jesus was priceless. So what kind of Jesus do you want people to know? Do you want the cheap Jesus? The one that you give yourself to and then you're like, whatever, that's it. I'm good. I'm sidelined. I'm not in the game. I don't want to do anything else. I'm just going to think of myself. I was saved so everybody else can I'll just watch them. I won't get involved. Or Mary, that perfume bottle cost her everything. And she poured it out to Jesus because this is all I have. This is everything. This is everything that I paid for. When I was saved, it is everything I thought it would be and more. I'm now pouring into the new generation, carrying them to Jesus, having them here for Jesus to yell Lazarus to be raised to life for the sins that they are hiding from Jesus, from God. So Judas is counting the cost as Mary is pouring it out. Mary says, Jesus is priceless. I could never give enough. So which one are you? Which one, or what can I get from Jesus, or what can I give to Jesus, for he has saved me? Those are the two decisions that you had to face. Mary was not worried about the cost, but she was worried about the cross. Mary saw into the future that he was going to die, so she poured out her everything to him in her thanks to Jesus, because there's nothing like our Jesus. So basically it was about caring more about others who need to be carried to Jesus. So we took about 15 minutes in a small group after service, after I had wiped my tears. Oh my gosh, I could not stop crying. We were talking in our small groups. I pulled one of the girls aside that talked to me about getting baptized, and because she wasn't really comfortable talking to everybody about why she wanted to get baptized and what secrets she was withholding from God. So I pulled her to the side, and it was just her and I talking. I had to pray over her. And then the girl that I was avoiding comes up with her and the other leader in my group. And she was like, she wants to be rededicated. She wants to talk to you. I was like, okay. God is putting her here for a reason in front of me. Let's talk to her. I was like, okay, so you want to be rededicated? She's like, yes, I do. And I was like, okay, do you know, I went through the Roman road with her, admit that you're a sinner, believe that Jesus died on the cross, and choose to follow him daily. I went through that whole spiel with her, and then between her and I shared a little bit of my testimony with her and spoke some life into her, and I just prayed that it would stick with her. I prayed over her. She's like 14 years old. I'm like, you are young, and I'm very grateful that I am able to speak into you right now because you need it, and I want to see you grow in your faith. And I'm very grateful that I could share this with you. And we went back into the worship center to pour out our perfume to Jesus. Prayed, we poured it out, every last drop at the feet of Jesus. And then I filled out one more form, filled out another baptism form, the fifth one. Before the baptisms, this one girl who wasn't in my group, but she was in the same cabin as me, I was praying over one of the girls that she talked about getting baptized with me, and this girl came up to me. She's like, I'm nervous to get baptized. Can you please pray over me? I was like, of course. And I prayed over her for her salvation, for her comfort in God's arms and peace in Jesus. And I poured into these girls for 5 days straight. It is something I have never done before. I watched 5 of my girls getting baptized around a crowd of 500, 800 people around a pool in scorching hot weather at 9 p.m. at night. I was in the water with each and every single one of them. I saw life change happening right before my eyes, and I could not stop crying. But what really brings me to tears, these girls, they trusted me enough to open up to me, and they trusted me enough to guide them through salvation. They trusted me enough to ask me about what it meant to be saved, and they trusted me enough to pray over them and to come to me for all their questions that they had. And they trusted me enough to hold on to me when their tears felt too heavy and when their legs felt too heavy, and they trusted me to hold on to them when their sin was too when their sin was too heavy to hold. I kept telling the girls over and over again that this may have changed their life, but it changed mine. That the group of 32 girls that I looked over for 5 days, they changed my life. Beyond the chaos, beyond the absolute mess, beyond the wasp that I had to kill out of the room, beyond the mud that they all had on them from messy wreck, beyond the stench that we had to deal with in the common area of our cabin, those girls changed my life, and they know it. I told them plenty of times. I kept repeating myself over and over again how much it changed my life, and I pray that my words stirred something in them, because this is what I love to do. I love to do this. I love to talk to the younger generation who wants to know more and who wants life change. This is what I live for as a Christian, to change lives and to not be a sidelined Christian anymore. I felt distant for a time, for a month and a half, leading up to this camp, and I realized I said I need to be doing more in my word, because if I'm going to lead these girls, I have to be strong in my faith. What I had to realize is I had to care enough to carry as a Christian. Basically what I'm trying to say is this camp changed my life. The girls that I was with changed my life. The music, the worship, the nights that we had so much fun, it changed my life. And this is what I am put on this earth to do, is to change lives and to carry people who are paralyzed in their sin, carry them on a stretcher to Jesus. When I hit the crowd of judgment and fear and anxiety, the people who are judging me for being Christian and wanting to spread the gospel and go to church, when I hit the crowd, I don't turn around. I just go to the rooftop and I break down the tiles to get to Jesus. So if there's anything that I could pour into you now, pour into yourself, find your salvation, find somebody who has poured into you, thank them, and now keep pouring into others. Keep leading people to salvation and through salvation. Lead people to baptism. Lead people to church. Because this week changed my life. And I hope that it can inspire something in you. So let's do a quick prayer, if you'll bow your head with me, please. Father, I thank you so much for today. I thank you for allowing me to go to this camp and allow it to change my life. And thank you so much for allowing me to see the baptism and life change Thursday night and today, for they have chosen to be baptized today and on Thursday. Thank you for allowing me to pour into these girls for the past 5 days. Thank you for allowing me to pour into more people through YouTube and through social media, God. I thank you for allowing me this pleasure of doing your work. God, I pray that people who are saved turn to others, to carry them to the feet of you and your Son Jesus, to be saved through salvation and through baptism, through their own faith, as small as a mustard seed, for it can bloom into something amazing. It can get not just the water of the well, but in the cracks of the well and around the wall of the well, and every single part of people that want a new story through you, through baptism, through their faith. Thank you so much for allowing me to do this, Jesus. This is in your heavenly name, Father, that I pray to you. Amen. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.